Hi, I continue. I'll call. I can. This is part 3 of Muhammad versus the ants. Yeah, and when I read it, I use this side of for my words and this side for the Muslims' words, plus mock Arabic accent. Okay. Because you are a Christian that believes that God transformed into a human and you believe in a man God, this is the most stupid religion in the world. Better to believe a religion whose God hates you partnering something with it more than anything, to the point where shirk is unpardonable, yet will talk about itself in the royal plural as if it's the demon-possessed man called Legion in the Injil, a man called Legion for he was many demons, true? That is not stupid to you, true? How come it's not stupid but believing, quote, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God? Yeah. Yeah. How come believing in talking ants is stupid? How come believing in talking ants is not stupid, but believing, quote, in the beginning was the Word? Yeah, talking ants that know current human events. How come that's not stupid, but believing in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, is stupid to you? How come? Your God eats food, sleeps, forgets, and makes shit in his clothes when he was a baby, laughing out loud. This is the most stupid religion in the world. I really don't see how that's stupid. And by the way, since the angel says Jesus was a baby, well, you have to believe that he was God incarnate being a baby, because the angel is, quote, all his book given to Jesus, or Isa, and the angel is something to be stood firm upon, see Quran 568. And the angel is to be used to judge therein of the Quran, that's Quran 547. And you, a Muslim, are to believe in the angel or be far astray and dragged off into hellfire for not believing in all the books of Allah, and for making distinction between all his books. That'd be Quran 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 285, and 4070 through 72. As an answer to your ignorance, we Muslims believe that God sent the books to some of his mighty messengers. Actually, Allah is said to have sent books to thousands of prophets in all the world. Books, quote, in their own language. And if they were so mighty, how come only the Quran has you on a prayer rug with your patootie in the air 5 times a day? How come only the Quran has people joining up with ISIS to avoid a painful doom like the Quran threatens with Quran 9, 111, 38, and 39? How come it's only Muslims who join ISIS? Mighty men? Give me a break. Like Moses, Jesus, God orders Muslims to believe the true books. Where does it say true books? In Quran, Surah 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 285, and 4072. Sent to them, not those you have today. In other words, I'll read again. Like Moses, Jesus, God orders Muslims to believe the true books, not sent to them, not those you have today. If that is true, then how can you believe in Quran 4, 136, 150, 151, 152, 285, and 4070 through 72? And why come to me for my reading not my reciting, but my reading the before scriptures? That's 1094. And what are the before scriptures the Quran says it confirms or reminds? What is Quran 548 talking about when it says it confirms whatever scripture that went before it? What does that mean? You are just one another ignorant. You hope? If I'm not ignorant, well, what would that mean to you in Islam? Any guess? You think you know something, right? But in fact, you are a newbie. Really? What if I said that would make you think that? If you can provide evidence, you will prove that you aren't taqiyya in line for Allah. So, again, what have I said that would prove to you are right about me not being for not only being ignorant, but a newbie as well? What have I said, O slave of the best deceivers? What? You really need to take some lessons in how to be gullible. For what I've learned so far, it sounds like it's only in special instruction. From what I've learned so far, it sounds like it's not even special instructions written by Allah that get you into paradise. Not joining Islam, not joining ISIS and sawing off heads, or of those who came to help Syrian children from the evil Assad, but just being gullible and believing Sahih Muslim Book 33 was right about embryos going through a 40-day blood clot stage. If you can be gullible enough to believe that, you can be, quote, 1 cubit from the hellfire and suddenly end up in paradise for, well, being gullible. How can it not be this way, O slave of the best deceivers? How can it not? Allah said many times that the Bible He sent to Jesus has been corrupted. Where? Where does it say that? Where does he say that in the, quote, clear signs handed down? Where? Quran 2, 75, 79. Quran 3, 78. Quran 5, 13 through 14. 2, 147. Quran 5, 15. Really? Well, I've got to check that. I've got to check these out. I'll use Sahih International, okay? So for the first one, let's see if this means the Bible is corrupted like you and all Muslims believe, okay? Let's check that out. So I don't have much time for this? Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay, Surah 2, verse 75. That's chapter 2, verse 75. Sahih International. Do you covet the hope, O believers, that they would believe for you while a party of them used to hear the words of Allah and then distort the Torah after they had understood it while they were knowing? Distort? In what way? Since the Torah of the Dead Sea Scrolls matches the meaning of the Torah in the Old Testament, and since the Dead Sea Scrolls are hundreds of years older than the Quran, I bet, quote, distort means changing the meaning of what the Torah says, true? I mean, it's like saying that when you read something, you say it really doesn't mean that, right? Is that distort? Well, here is Quran 2:76. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we have believed. I don't say that. For I never believe the Quran, especially now, since I've come upon Muslim Book 33 that says it is a blood clot embryos are for 40 days. But it goes on. But when they are alone with one another, they say, do you talk to them about what Allah has revealed to you so they can argue with you about it before your Lord? They will not reason. If that is true, if that is true, how does that mean the Bible is corrupted? What does that have to do with the price of rice in China? You know? My gosh. Well, I'll continue here. How does that mean the Bible is corrupted? Okay, this is 277. But do they not know that Allah knows what they conceal and what they declare? No, how does that mean the Bible is corrupted? Okay, this is 278. And among them are unlettered ones who do not know the scripture except in wishful thinking, but they are only assuming. How does that mean the Bible is corrupted? Okay, now this is 279, the one that he really feels that this is the one he mentioned as showing the Bible's corrupted. So woe to those who write the scripture with their own hands, then say, this is from Allah. Well, didn't Muhammad do that when he wrote the Quran? Didn't he say, this is from Allah? When Joseph Smith wrote the Book of Mormon, didn't he say something similar as well? Yeah, except he'd say it was from Elohim. If so, well, how does that mean the Bible is corrupted? When again, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls showing no change in meaning between the Old Testament of back then with the Old Testament we have today in the Holy Bible. You know, since the Torah of the Dead Sea Scrolls matches the meaning with the Torah in our Old Testament, and since the Dead Sea Scrolls are hundreds of years older than the Quran, I bet, quote, write the scripture is more of a warning to those who still write stuff and say it's from Allah, true, in order to, quote, exchange it for a small price. Yeah. And then it goes on. In order to exchange it for a small price. Yeah, better to sell it for a big price, huh? Woe to them for what their hands have written, and woe to them for what they earn. Well, how does this mean the Bible's corrupted? If it does, then what is the Quran confirming and reminding? What is the book that makes people the book, Jews and Christians? And what are the before scriptures you, a Muslim, are to come to me for my reading of? That'd be Quran 1094. What are they? Okay, now okay, now Quran 375, Sihi International. This is supposed to show that the Bible's corrupted here. And among the people of Scripture is he who, if you entrust him with a great amount of wealth, he will return it to you. Because Christians and Jews are nice. And among them is he who, if you entrust him with a single silver coin, he will not return it to you unless you are constantly standing over him, demanding it. Oh, I see. There are good Christians and bad Christians and Jews, true? And it takes the Quran to let us know this? Huh. Well, how does this mean the Bible is corrupted? No, how? That is because I say, there is no blame upon us concerning the unlearned. Oh? Well, how does that mean the Bible is corrupted? And they speak untruth about Allah while they know it. Well, if that's talking about me, hey, what have I said that is untrue about old Allah? What? Evidence, please. And by the way, how does this mean that the Bible is corrupted? Okay, now, Corinthians, this is, how much time do I have left here? I better stop it here. Yeah, I will.